From WENY News, this is First Warning Weather.
Well, welcome back. A bit of an active weather pattern underway here across the Twin Tiers. Obviously, we had that snow over the weekend, tracking our next system for tomorrow into Wednesday. Another will follow late Friday into Saturday, and perhaps another about a week out as we go into early next week. Active weather pattern, though, doesn't necessarily mean a lot of snow for us here in the Twin Tiers, because that active storm track takes a lot of those low pressure systems up through the Great Lakes region, and that will generally place us with some warmer temperatures. Now, each one of these systems, though, will have a wintry mix associated with them. So we start out with some snow tomorrow morning. This just after the morning commute, over to rain as temperatures warm. Wind gusts could approach 50 miles an hour in some of the higher terrain. Power outages can't be ruled out. And it looks like we quiet down briefly here for the middle part of this week. We have high wind warnings in effect for Steuben and Yates County. Wind advisories in effect for the rest of the region. Again, in the warned area, wind gusts approaching or even exceeding 50 miles an hour. So a big deal in terms of wind gusts for tomorrow. And we also have a flood watch in effect for portions of the northern tier of Pennsylvania. So here's the system we're tracking. Intense area of low pressure that's going to cut up through the Great Lakes. Again, with low pressure system, you have counterclockwise winds. So generally speaking, you have warmer air to the east of it, cooler air behind it, and that's why we're expecting a change over to rain for tomorrow. But initially, tomorrow morning, there's going to be enough cold air in place to start that precipitation out as some wet snow. And actually, there may be a burst of some moderate snow for a little while here, mid to late morning, before we transition over to rain. But temperatures generally above the freezing mark as that happens. Nonetheless, there could be some slick road conditions out there, especially on untreated surfaces. So again, by 9 o'clock, northern tier of Pennsylvania with the snow, shortly thereafter into the southern tier. Darker shades of blue indicating, again, perhaps a moderate or even heavy snow for a time here, mid to late morning, even though temperatures will be at or above the freezing mark. And then we transition over to some moderate rain through the afternoon and evening. Look at the temperatures here. By the time we head closer to midnight, 48 degrees in Elmira and Mansfield, Blossburg as well. So we get quite warm here late at night. And into Wednesday, looks like we'll end up having our high temperature in the pre-dawn hours. And then as we go into the rest of the day, Wednesday, temperatures start to drop back through the 40s and into the 30s with a couple leftover snow showers possible, but much quieter weather here for Wednesday afternoon, although still a bit on the brisk side. So here's the snow accumulation, slushy coating to an inch in many valley locations. Some of the higher terrain over the northern tier of Pennsylvania where the snow begins earlier may see 2 or 3 inches. Again, that's generally confined to the higher terrain, but that could pose some travel issues tomorrow morning. Rainfall amounts have the potential of topping an inch, so that's why there's some flooding concerns as well. And on top of that, look at these wind gusts. Again, I mentioned that high wind warning, Steuben and Yates County up here. We could be looking at some 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so an intense storm system for sure. Looks like the winds gradually start to decrease a bit late tomorrow night and into Wednesday. So a lot of weather going on here over the next 24 hours. 38 is what we forecast today. We hit 39 for a high. 22 for a low tonight. Mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow eventually up to 48, but that's not until closer to midnight. Then we drop the temperatures out of the 40s into the 30s on Wednesday. Friday, a wintry mix could last into Saturday, and then perhaps another storm system early next week.